Y'all, welcome back to the channel. It's Frank again with the Film Corner. Just wanted to tell y'all what's been going on and let's talk about movies today. So basically, I've been watching the Criterion collection primarily, and I am up to the first. I've got 3 more spines before I finish the first 100. But today I wanted to talk about the first 10 and tell y'all which ones my favorites were. So I guess without further ado, as they say, let's get started. So a brief overview. I'm going to just tell y'all quickly which ones the first 10 are and what they look like, and then we'll go into my favorites. So the first one is called Grand Illusion. This is by Jean Renoir. This came out in 1938. Excellent film. The second one is called Seven Samurai. This is Akira Kurosawa. This came out in 1954. Another excellent one. Actually, all of these are really great. The third one is called The Lady Vanishes by Alfred Hitchcock. This came out in 1938 as well. This is Federico Fellini. This is called Armicord. This is Spine number 4. This came out in 1973. And then this is Francois Truffaut's The 400 Blows. This came out in 1969. No, 59, sorry. Hard for me to see sometimes. Then spine number 6. This is Beauty and the Beast by Jean Renoir. This came out in 1946. Then spine number 7, A Night to Remember. This came out in 1958. This is by Roy Ward Baker. And then spine number 8 is The Killer by John Woo. This came out in 1989. Excellent film. Spine number 9 is also by John Woo. This is called Hard Boiled. Another excellent Hong Kong film. This came out in 1992. And then lastly, this is Walkabout by Nicholas Regg, I believe is his name. This came out in 1971. This is an interesting film. We'll get into that in just a moment. But just overall, that's the first 10 spine numbers in order. And what I wanted to talk to y'all about today, which ones are my favorite. So really, I like them all in different ways. What impressed me, I think, just overall, is number one, it brought me into a level of movies that I had never seen before. I'd never seen any of them until I watched them in the Criterion collection. So admittedly, you know, I don't have that wide of a scope of international cinema. So I want everyone to know that this is like a, hey, welcome to International Cinema Day, I guess. But I really enjoyed the first 10 because I went in with the mindset of thinking, why are these in the collection to begin with? Possibly, because they don't really tell you. They just, there's a group of people who curate all of these films and decide, you know, which ones get put in the collection. And they're cinema lovers, and they want to protect, you know, and preserve, you know, all of these films that could be lost to time or what have you. You know, so with that being said, you know, I kind of went in with this idea that I don't know if I'm gonna like any of these or not, but it turned out that I really did. And truth be told, I really like all 10 of them. But they span the gamut for me. So there's a lot of French cinema in here. There's French cinema, there's Japanese cinema, there's English, there is Italian cinema, and Hong Kong cinema, and Australian cinema. So it really kind of gives you this wide swath of backgrounds that you would probably not be used to intaking. And I really like that because I feel like I learned a lot. So from a educational perspective, I feel like Criterion's really kind of giving me a nice view of the world through movies, which is really cool. But I guess, to talk more about like my favorite one, I have a few favorites in here. Number one is, incidentally, number one, The Grand Illusion by Jean Renoir. This is my only exposure into Jean Renoir's work, at least right now, in the Criterion collection. I think this is appropriate for Spine number one, and I suppose what was going on at the time was this is really an anti-war film about a prison escape. This is kind of like the grandfather of prison escape movies. If you've ever seen The Great Escape with Steve McQueen or whatever, this is kind of like a precursor to that, but in a French way, I suppose. And it has to do with class division, but then also at the same time, because people are trying to escape prison, the class divide doesn't matter anymore, which I found that intriguing in general with this particular film. I like this a whole awful lot. I would say that if I had to rate this, I would give this 4 stars, especially for my first foray into the Criterion collection from Spine order number. Like it hit me in a way that I felt was like real visceral, and I really liked that a lot. The second one that I liked a whole awful lot, this is a long one. This is Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa. Now, a little background on Kurosawa is Akira Kurosawa is really prolific in the Criterion collection. He's got a lot of movies in there, and anyway, that is a cinematic masterpiece in Seven Samurai. And basically what that's about is there is a village that keeps getting raided by a bunch of bandits, and they are like, I don't know, I guess helpless villagers that get trained by a samurai that I guess came out of retirement or something like that. Sometimes I get a little lost in the plot point whenever I have to read a lot, and because these are subtitled in English, a lot of this, and you're reading it for 3 hours straight, it's a lot to take in. But admittedly, though, it's good because it's kind of the basis for movies like Star Wars or like Magnificent Seven. As a matter of fact, those two movies really have, they owe a great deal of debt to Akira Kurosawa in this movie. But basically, like, there's a set of villagers that keep getting attacked. Their village keeps getting raided. They end up getting trained by other samurai to defend the village, but then the samurai end up dying. Like, I don't want to give too much away. It's still worth a watch for sure. But it's one of those things where, you're sitting in that one for the long haul. And I really like that one. It's beautiful in black and white. It's in 4K now, which at the time when I bought it, I guess I didn't realize it was in 4K. I should have gotten it in 4K because 4K really looks great in, like, black and white films look great in 4K. The other one that I liked a whole lot was called The 400 Blows by Francois Truffaut. So I didn't know anything about this movie or any of these movies really before going into them, with few exceptions. But this one particularly didn't know anything about it at all. Again, this is told from the view of Francois Truffaut's cinematic counterpart, a kid named Antoine Doinel. So Antoine Doinel is pictured here on the front of this book of this movie, and this recreates some of the stuff that Truffaut went through in his own childhood in this movie. So basically, this is it's like childhood in a box. That's the best way I'll put it. Like sometimes not everything is perfect in people's childhoods and stuff. And like this has to do with, parents who aren't really like emotionally available, and, teachers who just are just jerks and all kinds of different things like that. And this child resorts to petty crimes and stuff and ends up kind of running away from the house. And this is part of something called the French New Wave of cinema. And basically, it's also a part of a larger story. And what's interesting about this is Criterion has a box set called the Antoine Doinel box. And I have that up there. And I'll get to it in a little bit to tell y'all more about it. But basically, this is the start of that 4-part movie set that tells the life of Antoine Doinel. So where I'm going with this is that what's interesting is they use the same actors that they used for 400 Blows in the rest of the other 3 movies. So you get to watch this person grow up in real time across the 4-part series of the Antoine Doinel box. I should have pulled that down to show it to y'all, but I don't want to get up right now and pull it down. But it's totally worth a watch, especially knowing now that it's part of a larger story arc. 400 Blows is wonderful. I really enjoyed that one a whole awful lot. And for a shout out to one of my friends, Michelle, I just wanted to say I would be remiss if I didn't say that Beauty and the Beast was one of my favorite ones. And even though I had said in my last video that everyone knows the story of Beauty and the Beast, which is pretty much true, I know that there are a few people who don't, or maybe not everybody is aware of it, but this is the 1946 version of Beauty and the Beast by Jean Cocteau. So, and as I've said before in earlier videos of mine, this is like a surrealist version of Beauty and the Beast. And what that means is it's kind of ethereal as opposed to it being like, I'm not knocking Disney, but it's not Disney-fied. And I really enjoy this a lot, especially because it's in black and white. These black and white films are just incredible. But I really like this one a whole awful lot as well, because it just gives you a different viewpoint. The way that they tell the story from the French perspective is different. I really like this one. The other ones that I really like, like I said, I like them all, so it's hard for me to sit here and tell you that, oh, every one of them is great, because they really are. But I guess I wanted to kind of skip something and tell y'all a story, because originally what was going to happen was I had gotten to spine number 8 and spine number 9, which is The Killer and Hard Boiled, both by John Woo. And I was like, in the background of my mind, I was like, I'm going to skip those, because like I don't feel like reading all the subtitles and all this stuff. I don't know. I guess I was in a kind of mood that day, but I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to watch it and see what all the hype is about, because at the time, The Killer and Hard Boiled had been kind of locked away in Hong Kong for a long time. Like these have been out of print for forever, like 20 years or more. and even John Woo couldn't get this back. So in the meantime, though, what has happened is Shout Factory picked up the rights. I don't know how much they paid to get the rights to these, but they redid these in 4K. So, and I have those. I was lucky enough for Christmas to get those from my wife as a Christmas present. I was stunned, like, oh my God, these exist. Like, aside from, because otherwise you were relegated to either really poor prints from Hong Kong that were imported, or you had to spend a nickel to get these Criterion versions. And they've been, like I said, they've been out of print for 25 years. But if you want to talk about where this is cinematically relevant, oh my God, the Matrix, things like the movie with Keanu Reeves, it's escaping my mind right now, but those types of movies with all the bullet time and the violence and vengeance and revenge movies and stuff like that, this is probably the granddaddy of those. In my opinion, I don't think you would have a movie like The Matrix without a movie like The Killer. So basically, The Killer is about, in a very short synopsis, it's about a guy who is retired. He comes out of retirement to actually like avenge somebody shot somebody by accident in some kind of an exchange, and the guy has to come out of retirement to help kind of get back at that person, and end up helping this girl who has lost her vision due to this accidental shooting, if you will. But this is absolutely amazing, and it even looks it looks so much better now than it did even back then, even though these are like Criterion Masters, like from 1999. This is old school Criterion. The same thing with Hard Boiled. I enjoyed this one as well. I think between the two of them, I probably like Hard Boiled a lot more. They have this one scene that they're kind of alluding to right here on the cover, where he slides down a stair banister and he's got two guns in his hands and he's just freaking wailing on these bad guys. It's absolutely amazing, especially, you know, for the time frame that this happened. This was in 1992, so like, you know, this is the forebearer of things to come, you know, in terms of things like The Matrix and the John Wick movies. That's what I was trying to think of earlier with Keanu Reeves. I think we owe John Wick and all of the current you know, revenge type movies with guns and stuff like that to John Woo and his directorial style. As a matter of fact, one interesting thing, I went and saw the remakes of Hard Boiled, not the remakes, but the remasters of Hard Boiled and The Killer in the cinema and in 4K not too long ago, like a month or so ago. And one of the things that he said in the interview, John Woo said in the interview after the fact, was that he actually was dissatisfied with the sound of the guns. So they made the sound effects for the weapons that were being used in the movie. And this is one of these kinds of directors and one of these kinds of movies where it gets to be kind of ridiculous, like they never run out of ammo, like ever. And so it can be a little ludicrous, but honestly, like the stories are really fun. And really, like, they'll keep you on the edge of your seat. So that's why I really enjoyed like these two particularly, Hard Boiled and The Killer. And then finally, the last one, which was kind of a sleeper hit for me. I didn't think I was gonna like this at all, because I didn't think I was going to connect with it, but it's called Walkabout. So for those who are not aware, myself included until I actually read up on this, a walkabout is similar to, like, when when you turn 18, or when you turn 21 or something like that, you can do things, as an adult that you couldn't do as a child. And basically, like, what a walkabout is, it's kind of like a journey of finding yourself. If you're a native person in Australia, Aboriginal people, this is the first example of Aboriginal folk on screen. And what this movie is about, this came out in 1971. And without giving too much away, essentially these children are abandoned in the wilderness through a circumstance that happened, and they have to get out of the outback. But in the process of getting out of the outback, they run into this Aborigine, this native, and he doesn't speak English. And meanwhile, these are British children, of course, and so they are on this journey to exit the outback and get back to civilization. And it takes you through this long circuitous route of this journey that they go on. I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I didn't know what this was actually going to be about, and I was like, oh, it's probably going to be really boring, but it actually ended up being really riveting. And again, like, there's a precursor, like a splash screen at the beginning of this about Aboriginal people, which I found that so intriguing. I actually read up on the person that they chose to play this part, and he is an actual Aborigine. He's deceased now, and they kind of allude to that at the beginning of the movie. But the supplemental features on here are definitely worth a look. And again, it's called Walkabout. It came out in 1971. So that's just my general take on the first 10. I would say that of all of those, like I said, they all hold equal contention, for my favorite films and that's kind of a cop-out. But they are all so good, especially when you've never seen them before. Like, it's just one of those things where if this is your first time ever watching Criterion movies, this gives you a wide array of different backgrounds and different, it gives you a different level of education, and it might even give you a desire to go and research some of the information that you have watched, when you watch the first 10 of these, because you have English cinema represented in Roy Ward Baker's Titanic. That movie itself, it is one of my favorites. I kind of skipped over it here in this review because everybody knows the story of Titanic, I would imagine. But that one makes you feel really, really awful, like, for the amount of, like, the disaster and the amount of loss in there. It was just so heavy. It's hard to watch. It's not the love story that James Cameron created, not by a long shot. A matter of fact, I remember as a child, I watched it on television, and when I was watching it as an adult, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember this from childhood. So I guess my parents kind of let me watch things that were emotionally gutting, for lack of a better word. But overall, my experience with the first 10 Criterion movies, unbelievable. I recommend them all. And I know that may seem like a cop-out. When I get into the next 10, it's going to be a little more condensed. But I just wanted to kind of give everybody an entry point into the real guts of Criterion. There's a lot there. I guess the point I'm trying to make is there's something for everyone here. Whether you like action movies, whether you like biopics, whether you like journeys and stories of triumph and overcoming and all that. It's all here for you. But I just wanted to stop tonight and just let y'all know, that I'm thoroughly enjoying this journey that I'm on, this cinematic journey, and I'm glad to have y'all along with me. And I hope to get up another video next week about the next 10. So thank y'all for joining me tonight. Like, share, comment, and subscribe if y'all enjoy this content. I look forward to seeing y'all soon. Thank you.